Alright, you and I are about to watch the ultimate toxic romance survival story begin. Weird holographic comments suddenly started floating in front of me, warning that a massive trash husband redemption arc was about to go down. The virtual crowd was telling everyone to get ready, because the terrible husband would never sign. They expected him to drop to his knees, crying and begging for forgiveness until he suffered completely. Everyone assumed he had finally realized how badly he messed up, and would refuse to let her go. Knowing his wife was totally innocent, I just smirked at the floating messages, leaned down, and signed the papers anyway. That is because I had transmigrated straight into an incredibly dramatic and cliché romance novel. An absolute tragedy, filled with endless misery, where I unfortunately ended up as the main character, the toxic chief executive named Caspian Vance. A cold, ruthless, and toxic bully. Now watch closely, this is the exact moment he decides to completely change his miserable, pre-written fate. The gorgeous woman sitting right beside me was still my wife, but only for a few more seconds. In the original story, Caspian had ignored his wife for 3 whole years, being the worst partner imaginable. He treated Serafina Locke like absolute garbage, constantly hurting and humiliating her at every turn. But the novel claimed he loved her deeply, only acting out because he believed the lies of his manipulative ex-girlfriend. Her name was Bianca Frost, and she easily made him go crazy with jealousy over Serafina's male friends. The book focused heavily on how his poor ex-wife suffered until she was completely broken. She took all the pain until Caspian finally realized his mistakes and started begging for her back. He got his legs broken, lost all his money, and faced endless misery because she rightly refused to ever forgive him. As I thought about this, more floating text blocked my view of the room. They told Caspian to open his eyes and see how much Serafina had suffered. Everyone was betting real money that he would rip the papers apart and scream that he refused. I quickly figured out these were live chat comments from viewers in another dimension. Honestly, you and I would be laughing too, seeing how desperately these dimensional viewers want him to fail and suffer. Looking at their dramatic comments, I could not help but grin. Why should I care about some painful redemption arc? I am not that idiot. Why should I suffer, lose my money, and beg on my knees? There is absolutely no way. My massive survival instinct immediately kicked in. I was ready to escape this terrible plot. The clerk handed over the document, pointing to the line. Serafina avoided my gaze entirely, looking down at the table with completely blank and empty eyes. She signed her name instantly. Her signature was incredibly fast, like she was running for her life. Next, it was my turn. I grabbed the pen while the virtual chat kept spamming that I was just pretending. They were waiting for a massive fight, but I did not even care to respond. I pressed the pen down and let the ink glide across the page smoothly. I signed Caspian Vance with absolute confidence, without my hand shaking even a single millimeter. I pushed the signed paper back to the clerk with a massive sigh of relief. The entire office instantly went dead silent, with only the air conditioner humming in the background. The clerk looked completely shocked, staring from the paper to me, and then toward my ex-wife. Nobody expected someone who supposedly loved his wife so obsessively to sign this fast. Even Serafina was totally stunned by my speed. She looked up at me, her empty expression suddenly shifting into complete confusion and disbelief, as she stared directly into my eyes. And honestly, you and I will love seeing them lose it. He signed it, and trust me, you and I are about to see the script completely fall apart. Where's the dramatic regret? Where's the toxic wife-chasing drama we expected? This is totally wrong. I want a refund. But the clerk didn't care, processing the paperwork at absolute record speed. Talk about fast service. 2 red booklets were handed over, official divorce certificates. I was finally a free man in this romance story. I stood up, stretching with a massive, incredible sense of relief. Glancing over, I saw Serafina Locke still sitting in her spot with her head bowed, staring intensely at her booklet, as if it were a piece of red-hot burning iron. I didn't give her another second of my time. I just turned and walked away with huge strides. I practically booked it. I wanted to teleport out of there instantly. Meanwhile, the live comments went completely wild. He really just left, walked straight out, without looking back. How is he supposed to beg for her forgiveness now? Where's the writer? Show yourself right now. We need to have a very serious talk. Caspian, get back here and apologize to your wife. Wait, why does he look so happy walking away? And then, I stepped through the bureau gates. Now watch closely as he steps into the blinding sun, because this is where his real story begins. Right on cue, my driver pulled up. A sleek, ultra-luxury black sedan stopped right by the curb. I opened the door and slid into the deep, soft leather seats. Leaning back, I closed my eyes. My head was still throbbing with a dull ache, but the massive weight on my chest was completely gone. I had never felt this relaxed. The engine started, merging into traffic, leaving that depressing divorce office far behind. Right then, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out to check, and a very familiar name popped up: Bianca Frost. Ah, yes, the classic pure girl of the original novel. She was actually a snake who framed Serafina, making the original Caspian misunderstand everything and causing her tragic miscarriage. She was the root cause of all the forced drama. Right on cue, the live chat absolutely lost it again. Oh, here she comes. The fake angel is calling. She's definitely trying to comfort her favorite puppet husband. Caspian the dog will definitely run to her to complain. Two toxic people meeting up. Honestly, it's so disgusting. Just leave Serafina alone. But looking at that name on screen, I felt nothing but pure disgust. Without a single word, I hung up. Then I slid my finger across the screen, dragging her name straight into the block list. Suddenly, everything went completely quiet. The live chat was about to have a collective panic attack. I know what you're thinking, is he really blocking her? Oh, absolutely. The script is officially dead. Wait, did Caspian wake up? Don't tell me he already knows Bianca was the one who framed her. Even if he does, it is too late, you trash. Meanwhile, my driver glanced at me through the mirror. Sir, was that Miss Frost calling? From now on, never say that name again, I replied coldly. My voice was low, but it was cold enough to shut him up instantly. Suddenly, my phone rang again. It was my assistant, so I picked up. Sir, is the divorce finalized? My assistant's voice was incredibly cautious and tense. All done, I replied casually. Then, regarding Miss Locke, do we need to arrange some financial support or compensation for her? Not a single cent, I cut him off. Just follow our prenuptial agreement. I remembered that Serafina had signed a contract to leave with absolutely nothing. All because Bianca had spread a nasty rumor that Serafina was pregnant with someone else's child. And because of that, the original male lead, whose body I now controlled, not only forced her to get an abortion, but kicked her out of the house without a single dime. Get someone to pack all her things and throw them out of the mansion. Don't mix anything up. If you accidentally give her a single extra thing, take it back. My assistant literally choked on his own spit. Understood, sir. But how do we handle your grandfather? After all, he has always treated Miss Locke with great respect. The elder was Grandpa Vance, the original owner's father. In the novel, he actually treated Serafina very well. Too bad his son was a complete train wreck. Later in the novel, the old man kicks Caspian out of the family, with zero inheritance. I will handle my grandfather myself, I replied firmly. Now, take me back to the company. Call all department heads. Meeting in 1 hour. I want to see the latest financial reports and the progress of every project. If anyone is late or fails to deliver within 30 minutes, they can write their own resignation letter. He quickly agreed, and trust me, you and I will love what comes next. All right. Stick with me, as this guy hangs up, completely ignoring the crazy chat comments flying right past his eyes. You think this is just a normal divorce? No way. This is a brutal, cold-blooded cut, completely severing all ties. Serafina's 3 years of marriage? Wasted. And Bianca Frost? Blocked, deleted, and thrown out like garbage. They are absolute strangers now. What got into Caspian Vance? He suddenly locked in, decided to forget the drama, and focus on making pure cash. The typical regretful husband storyline, completely shredded by his own hands. I finally arrived at my company headquarters. The second I opened my office door, someone lunges straight at me, smelling like way too much perfume. Yep, Bianca Frost. Her eyes are red from crying, and her voice is all shaky. Caspian, why on earth did you block my number? What did I do wrong? I just casually step aside, letting her lunge into empty air. She almost faceplants. Caspian. She gasps, turning around with a face full of absolute shock and betrayal. I ignore her, walking past to sit behind my desk. Coldly, I ask who let her in, but she just keeps crying about my divorce. I was worried, so I came, she whimpers, stepping closer. Get out, I cut her off without hesitation. What? Bianca freezes, I said. Get the hell out of my office right now, pointing straight at the door. From now on, you are not allowed to set a single foot in here. Her face turns bright, angry red. I call security, and you're going to want to see how insane the chat comments get. Oh my god, he is treating his first love like trash. Talk about a brutal reality check. Her face is pale. This feels amazing. Did Caspian lose his mind? Why is he kicking everyone out? Suddenly, the security guards arrive. They bow and ask if they should escort her out. I coldly state she is banned from the building forever. I look back down, focusing on my work. I don't even spare her a glance. The guards turn to her, saying, Miss Frost, please. You bastard. I'll never forgive you, Bianca screams as security basically drags her kicking and screaming out the door. Peace at last. But the chat is still moving like a hurricane. He actually threw his first love out. From main character to a background extra in seconds. This story is officially off the rails. I have no idea what's happening, but I am absolutely hooked. This is insanely satisfying. We both know he basically got a brain transplant, and honestly, I ignored the floating words entirely. Just then, the butler calls. My father wants me home immediately. So, I head straight to the old family mansion. The second I step through the door, I see my old man, Elder Vance, sitting on the couch looking absolutely furious. And surprisingly, Serafina Locke is standing right there too. She is in the middle of the room, packing folded clothes into an open suitcase on the floor. She pauses at my footsteps but doesn't look back, just keeps packing. But when Elder Vance spots me, he slams his hand down in pure rage. "Explain yourself, you bastard," he yells. I casually reply, "Well, you can see what is happening. The divorce papers are signed. She's packing to leave." My dad leaps up in a fury, yelling, "Who said she could go?" He storms over, slamming her suitcase shut. "Serafina, leave those things right there," he commands. Serafina's hands freeze right in midair. The old man glares at me, pointing a shaking finger right at my face. "You are the one who needs to get out, Caspian. Our family has no room for a heartless, stupid son like you." Immediately, the comments erupt once again. The old man is a beast. Caspian is definitely sweating now. Is this the part where he begs for mercy? Make him pay. Then, Elder Vance softens his tone, turning to comfort Serafina. "Serafina, stay." Caspian changed. "I heard he blocked Bianca Frost and banned her from the entire office building. He still loves you," he gasps, breathing heavily and glaring daggers at me. Hearing this, Serafina looks totally confused. She simply cannot make sense of it. Did I really dump Bianca just for her? Since I stay silent, my dad snaps again. "Let me make this crystal clear. If you actually divorce Serafina, you are kicked out of this house immediately. You're no longer my heir. Serafina is an angel, yet you keep breaking her heart over and over again. Without her, you are nothing." He stares, expecting me to kneel and beg like the script says. But you and I know he's about to rewrite the rules. "All right, you and I are jumping right into the drama." I look at Serafina, whose face is tense as she stares back at me with pure anger. I just nod and calmly say okay. Elder Vance completely freezes. Serafina looks shocked. For a second, a flicker of total confusion and absolute disbelief washes over her face, like she cannot process my words. The chat comments freeze for 1 second before absolutely going nuclear. Wait, did he seriously just agree? Wasn't the story supposed to show the elder kicking him out? Why is he agreeing? Caspian has officially lost his mind. Even Serafina is completely stunned by this crazy plot twist. He literally just burned down the entire classic wife-chasing drama script. Elder Vance stands there speechless, his face turning bright red with absolute fury, while Serafina just keeps staring at me. Without another word, I head upstairs to pack my bags. Honestly, this taste of freedom feels incredibly amazing. The chat is going wild, giving up all those family assets, losing his inheritance just for a divorce? This guy is playing some next-level mind games here. I expected 3 years of drama, but we get the finale now? Don't blink, because this is wild. Writer, please make this make sense. But as I head to my room, Serafina frowns and steps in to block my path. Her voice is icy cold. "Caspian, I should be the one leaving. But first, let me make one thing clear. That kid back then was yours, not Declan's. I never betrayed you, so stop playing these pathetic hard-to-get mind games with me. I am never coming back." I just lean against the doorframe, narrow my eyes, and flash a smug smile. "I will gladly send you packing. Honestly, everything you just said is literally exactly what I have been praying for. But here is a quick heads up. There is a huge company banquet tonight. Do not show up. Seriously, do me a massive favor and stay far away." Serafina scowls, a sudden spark of pure anger flashing in her eyes. I look down, casually twirling my fingers, and add, "If you do not show up, Declan Thorne won't either. I will also keep Bianca Frost away. Everything will be perfect. A nice, happy ending where absolutely nobody gets hurt. So, I am begging you, please do not come." Serafina looks completely blank, unable to understand my warning at all. But I know exactly what is coming because I read the original web novel. Tonight's major banquet was the exact place where everything was destined to explode. The original hero would see Serafina and Declan arrive together, get incredibly furious, and forcefully kiss Bianca right there, triggering an epic fight. Then, he would punch Declan, making Serafina lose all respect. Next, the hero's rich father would publicly announce his punishment, disinheriting him, throwing him out, and officially starting those painful, embarrassing days of begging for his wife to return. If I can keep her away, we can avoid all this drama. Makes sense, right? Everyone can just peacefully move on and go their separate, happy ways. But if they dare to attend, they will regret it. I do not just know the entire storyline beforehand. I also hold some incredibly massive evidence from the media. Freedom is absolutely amazing. Why on earth would I waste my time on this exhausting, messy, romance drama? It is incredibly boring. No need to chase anyone. And definitely no kneeling to anyone. No more stupid plot manipulating me. I have my own time, space, and future. Forget chasing after some wife. Forget all the painful angst. I want to make money, do my job, and live freely. Just leave me alone. But right then, Serafina looks up, staring at me with an expression that is completely unlike her usual cold self. She says, stubbornly, I am going. What right do you have to stop me? Instantly, the comments explode completely. Sister Serafina is an absolute badass. Rebellious era incoming, and I love it. Her ex tells her to stay, so she leaves immediately. Caspian versus Declan, tonight is going to be an epic war. Grabbing popcorn to watch Caspian crawl back begging. I forgot the original story, but I am so ready for this drama. I do not even bother looking at Serafina, and I definitely ignore the chat comments floating inside my head. I simply shake my head and head straight to the office. When I enter the conference room, it is totally packed. The room is dead silent. Everyone is staring at me, their eyes filled with anxiety and fear. Clearly, rumors about my sudden divorce have already spread through the entire company. They expect me to explode in a furious rage, especially since the old me was an incompetent leader who only knew how to scream and bark out lazy orders. I take the main seat and simply say, let us begin. Trust me, you are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, we are jumping right into the action with the finance department as the chief financial officer starts rattling off figures. He rambles about revenue, profits, and cash flow, his voice shaking with pure, unfiltered anxiety. But I am originally a finance guy. My brain automatically crunches the data like second nature. Every loophole, vague calculation, and inconsistency jumps out at me. It only takes one glance. Stop. I freeze him in his tracks, pointing right at the screen. Quarter 3 marketing expenses spiked by 35%. Explain this. The chief financial officer instantly breaks a sweat. He stammers that they hired celebrity ambassadors for big events, so I fire back. Where is the performance data on them? Show me the evaluation report. Where is the analytical data from these events? Did you track the conversion rate? My voice is quiet, but every word hits him like a hammer striking the table. Now watch closely. The guy is completely tongue-tied and cannot produce a single document. Nothing. So we literally threw money away? Who approved this? His face goes completely pale as he blames Bianca Frost. Apparently, General Manager Serafina Locke also signed off on it. Of course, those two women are involved again. The chat stream blows up instantly. Seriously? Blaming Serafina again? She is not even the manager anymore. They think I am blaming my ex. I stare at him. I am divorced from Serafina Locke. She has zero connection to this company now. And who is Bianca Frost? Since when do outsiders run operations at Vance Corporation? The entire room falls dead silent. Everyone holds their breath because they remember when I blindly obeyed Bianca. Ignoring their shock, I continue with a cold glare. The finance department completely failed in its basic duties to review and supervise. The department head loses their 3-month bonus. I look at the finance chief. My voice razor sharp. Forget your year-end bonus. This is your only warning. Next time, hand in your resignation. The man staggers, barely able to stand. He nods frantically, promising to investigate and hold them accountable. I simply say, good. I turn my attention to the project department. The West Zone construction is delayed by 2 months. Explain why. The project manager scrambles up, desperately rambling about clearance issues and approval delays. I cut him off constantly, tearing apart every single timeline, person in charge, and proposed solution. My style is sharp and decisive, without wasting words. The mood shifts from absolute panic to profound respect. Nobody dares to slack off or give half-hearted answers anymore. I know what you are thinking. It is brutal, but they are all thoroughly convinced by his genius. Because today, their chief executive has transformed into a totally different beast. No screaming, no cursing. But compared to his old, useless self, he is way more terrifying now. His sharp eyes aim directly at their weak spots, slicing through every error like a knife. Even the comments section is changing its tune. Wow, he is actually doing real work. This aura is kind of terrifying. He is hitting every right point and sounds incredibly professional. Is this really the brainless boss from before? Did a divorce literally unlock his hidden powers? A hard-working man is actually hot. But do not switch sides yet, he is still a jerk, though he has not mentioned Serafina once. Has he finally let her go? The intense meeting lasts for exactly 3 hours. By the end, everyone looks like they survived a brutal war, their shirts soaked in sweat. But in their eyes, there is deep admiration, not just raw fear. I stand up and announce that I want concrete action plans on my desk by noon tomorrow. I want to see the names of those in charge, and clear completion deadlines. If you cannot deliver, I will find someone who can. Understood? Yes, Mr. Vance, they reply in unison. I stride right out of the room, bypassing my office and walking straight over to my assistant. Find me a new apartment right in the city center, with top-tier security and total privacy. I am moving in tonight. Pack up only my essentials from the old family mansion, and throw the rest in the trash. My assistant freezes, asking if I am ever going back. That is their house, not mine. I refuse to live with any of them ever again, I tell him, locking eyes with absolute resolve. He immediately nods, promising to handle it right away. Change every security code, especially at the villa. Do a full sweep. Trust me, you and I are about to see if his exes can still get in. Trust me, everyone is on the blacklist: the old man, Serafina, and Bianca. His assistant cautiously asked if he meant all three, and he coldly confirmed everyone. The chat goes wild. He is moving out, cutting ties, and going totally independent. They thought this was a sad drama, but now it feels like sweet, satisfying revenge. With everything in motion, he heads back to his massive, empty chief executive office. Sunset streams through the giant floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a golden glow. He walks over, quietly watching the endless city traffic buzzing below. Meanwhile, the floating audience comments keep scrolling by. What is he looking at? Is he trying to look deep? He probably regrets losing Serafina and is about to call her. Classic, hard-to-get trick. Reading those clueless comments, he just chuckles and shakes his head. Just a bunch of bored real-world losers escaping into a fictional story just to feel some sense of self-importance. Complete idiots. He taps the USB drive from his assistant, grabs his phone, and makes a very important call. Now watch closely, he tells his lawyer to set up a massive personal trust. Move all my real estate, stocks, and investments into it except my shares in Vance Corporation. Independent management, total separation from the Vance family. I am the only beneficiary. After a tense silence, the lawyer's serious voice comes through, confirming he understands the assignment completely. He promises to handle all legal risks and deliver the final paperwork before 10 a.m. tomorrow. The last rays of sunset sink behind the skyscrapers as a sea of stars takes over. He stands there, watching. In his vision, the scrolling comments suddenly freeze. Is he locking his assets in a trust? And he is the sole beneficiary? He is going this far? Is he seriously planning to live totally alone? Does Serafina know he just locked up all his cash? There goes her chance at chasing him. Later at the evening banquet, crystal chandeliers blaze over a massive, incredibly loud crowd. You and I see her arrive while he quietly sips champagne in the corner, watching her coldly. Standing right next to her is her best friend, Declan Thorne, laughing and leaning in close. Declan has a smug smile, and Serafina does not even try to pull away. Meanwhile, Bianca Frost is playing the ultimate social butterfly, acting like she owns the party, but her eyes keep locked onto his direction. Her gaze is a blatant trap. Instantly, the comments start blowing up. The whole main cast is here, and the drama is starting. Declan looks like a dog with a stolen bone. Serafina looks lost, and Bianca refuses to give up. Talk about having absolutely zero shame. Why is the chief executive just standing there? Go fight him. I bet 5 minutes before he snaps and starts a brawl. Right on cue, Declan spots him, sneers, wraps his arm around Serafina, and walks right over. Serafina tenses up but does not push his hand away. They stop directly in front of him. Declan raises his glass with a fake smile, mockingly congratulating him on finally getting his freedom today. He glances at Serafina, claiming they are both incredibly happy for him. Serafina stays silent, looking at him with a complicated stare. The chat explodes over Declan's obvious provocation. Fight back, chief executive. Serafina is just a tool here. Why is he looking so incredibly cold? Is he holding back a massive explosion? Suddenly, Bianca squeezes in between them, putting on a tragic, heartbroken face. She tells them it is highly inappropriate to deliberately provoke him right now. Claiming he is in too much pain, Declan just chuckles, questioning if pain is really the right word. Stupidity fits better since he threw away someone like Serafina without a single regret. Bianca immediately steps in front of him like a protector, telling Declan to watch his mouth. She warns him not to insult him. The comments fire up again, calling them an absolute toxic duo. One pours gasoline, the other fans the flames. Perfect teamwork. Why is the chief executive staying so quiet? Why has he not snapped yet? He just looks at the trio, one instigating, one acting, and one silently watching the show. He chuckles. Originally, he only wanted to run his business, make money, and live a peaceful, free life. But since they want drama, you and I know they are about to regret it. Alright, you and I are about to watch the ultimate payback. I dropped my manners, whipped out my phone, and linked it to the banquet screen. The boring ads playing on it suddenly cut off. A secret recording flashed on screen. The camera angle was hidden, but the footage was crystal clear, and the audio was perfectly sharp. There they were, Declan Thorne and Bianca Frost, plotting inside a quiet VIP room. The live chat froze up instantly. Everyone was asking what was going on, and why this was playing. CEO Vance was dropping the ultimate finisher. This wasn't even in the original story. In the video, Declan poured some wine, wearing a smug smile on his face as he looked at Bianca. You are really something. Bribing the doctor to lie about Serafina's pregnancy timeline, making it look like she cheated while Caspian was away. And that absolute idiot actually fell for the whole thing. Bianca giggled behind her hand, saying it served him right for only having eyes for that cheap girl, Serafina. She wanted him to destroy his own family, then throw Serafina out on the street with absolutely nothing. I want him to regret this forever, she said, turning her icy gaze right toward Declan. You did great setting up that fake dinner date with Serafina, Declan replied, clinking his glass with hers. A perfect partnership. Once that blind fool Caspian loses her and pisses off his own father, his entire family empire will crash to the ground. Once that happens, she won't have any escape left. She'll have to crawl back to me. Bianca's eyes flashed with pure malice. Caspian has to be mine after daring to reject me. Just wait until he is broke and begging on his knees, then I will show him real pain. And the video kept playing. Now pay attention here, because this is where the entire room falls dead silent, staring at the screen with their jaws dropped. The smug look on Declan's face froze solid. His skin instantly turned pale as a sheet. His confidence melted into pure, unadulterated panic. He whipped his head toward me, looking like he had just stared straight at a ghost. Bianca went totally numb. Her fake, pitiful crying face instantly locked up in absolute shock. Her mouth hung open, her entire body trembling like a leaf, as if she had no strength left. Her eyes were wild with panic. That is not true. Caspian, you have to listen to me. She scrambled forward, babbling absolute nonsense, trying to shut off the recording, but one icy glare from me nailed her feet right to the floor. But nobody was more devastated than Serafina. She stood completely paralyzed, staring blankly at the screen as her body shook. The glass in her hand slipped and shattered on the ground. Red wine splashed all over her white dress, but she did not even notice. She just stood there, eyes wide, her pupils trembling in utter shock. Shock and disbelief washed over her, followed by a dark emptiness. And then, a cold, burning rage began to ignite. She slowly turned her head, glaring at Declan, who was now deathly pale and trembling so hard he could barely stand. Then her eyes locked onto Bianca, who was shivering like a wet rat, completely drained of all color. Her lips quivered, but she could not make a sound. You and I can see the chat exploding now. Our main character just dropped a nuclear bomb on them. This is the ultimate plot twist. So Declan and Bianca are just venomous snakes. Look at Serafina's face. This hurts so much to watch. Caspian is a literal god. So Caspian divorced her and kicked her out because he knew the truth all along. He is not the bad guy here. He was just playing the long game for revenge. What a masterpiece. I take back everything bad I said about him. I bow down to this man. This tragic story just turned into the most satisfying revenge ever. It is so good. Serafina's entire world just fell apart, while those two backstabbing snakes are pale with absolute terror. This is too much drama for one day. My brain is frying. And with that, the recording finally ended. The screen cut to black, leaving the hall in dead silence. It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. It was like a sudden bolt of lightning had shocked the entire crowd. Nobody could speak. I set down my untouched glass of champagne and looked over at Serafina, who stood stiff as a statue, her face whiter than paper. Her eyes were filled with pure agony, looking as if her soul had been ripped out. I finally opened my mouth. My voice was quiet, but in that dead silent room, it cut through with chilling clarity. Do you see clearly now? I asked. This is the best friend you trusted so much, and the man you almost married. I smirked with a cold, mocking sneer. Our child was mine. You never wronged me. The only ones who betrayed you were those two. I pointed at those two cowards, then stared coldly at her pale face. Trust me, you and I know she had this coming. All right, you and I are diving into a story where sacrificing everything for someone who hates you gets flipped on its head. But honestly, you were weak, way too accommodating, and let's face it, pretty annoying. I did not even look at them, as I turned my back on hundreds of shocked, terrified stares. While the chat went totally wild with comments, I calmly walked away from them, leaving that sickening luxury banquet hall far behind me. I stepped outside and took a deep breath of cool night air. Behind me, Declan was screaming in panic while Bianca wailed at the top of her lungs. Serafina was sobbing, too. Finally, my freedom had a sweet taste of truth mixed right into it. The chat went absolutely wild. CEO Vance slaughtered everyone tonight, rising from rock bottom straight to god status with one video. All the pressure is on Serafina now. What is she even going to do? This whole drama just took a major turn. Declan and Bianca are officially ruined, and it is incredibly satisfying to watch. Now watch closely, because the next afternoon, my lawyer handed over the papers that changed the entire game. Right then, my phone rang. It was my father. He told me to come home after last night's drama. He told me he already brought Serafina over, demanding that I return immediately, talk things out with her, apologize, and try to patch things up. He claimed we are still family while the comments flooded the screen. The chat urged me to go back, saying her heart was softening and we should just get back together. I just asked him calmly which home he meant, laughing quietly to myself. Didn't you kick me out yesterday and demand my name be removed from the property? The line went dead silent. The viewers went crazy again, loving how I remembered every single savage detail. He sighed and tried to sound gentle, claiming those were just words of anger, and I was still his son. I cut him off, telling him he was hilarious for changing his mind after defending his precious daughter-in-law. Yesterday, you called your own son heartless and blind, pointing fingers at me without a single doubt. You kicked me out, saying you did not need an heir like me. Those were your exact words just last night. Now that you realize she was actually the liar, and your son is not stupid, you want to fix things. Suddenly, we are family again and the massive inheritance is mine? I could only laugh. Your love is incredibly flexible, old man. You just flip the switch whenever it suits your mood, do you? The comments erupted with applause, cheering for every single verbal blow I landed. Don't you think the old man deserved this reality check? His face is definitely stinging right now, and it is glorious. He gasped in anger, repeating that I was his son. I calmly admitted that fact, but that is why this is so funny. To protect a daughter-in-law you barely knew, you threw away your actual son without a second thought. No investigation. Just kicking me out. You refused to listen to explanations, only believing your own bias. Truly touching logic, father. Now that the truth is out, you think family ties suddenly fix everything? That some cheap words make it okay? You want me to apologize and take the assets? Well, spilled water cannot be easily scooped back up. The moment you threw me out of that house, I stopped being a member of this family. Whatever you think of Serafina is your business. Leave me out of it. My life is perfectly fine right now. The audience cheered his brilliant logic. He was incredibly cold, completely unshakable, and absolute ice. Everyone wondered what Serafina would do. The other end stayed silent, and I could hear my father breathing heavily. Then, she took the phone. It was Serafina. Her voice sounded totally exhausted and dry. She asked if we could talk privately, and the entire chat went totally wild. They begged me to accept the apology and just go sign the remarriage papers. I just laughed coldly into the phone. Talk about what? How stupid you were for 3 whole years. Now that I am proven innocent, you suddenly feel regret? You want us to cherish each other? You want to rekindle our old flame? Forget it, Serafina. Yesterday we both signed those divorce papers. My father was the one who threw me out, but you just stood there and stayed totally silent. And honestly, you and I both know she never deserved him. This is exactly where the real payback begins. You absolutely despised me and just wanted to escape me. You and I both know she was right to feel that way. For 3 years, someone with my exact face treated her like garbage, and even though I did not do it, I paid his debt. So I signed the papers and walked away from the Vance family. My debt is officially settled. We are completely finished. The truth is out, so do not go feeling guilty or sorry for me now. The only person who deserves your apology is the real Caspian Vance, who actually loved you with his whole soul. But he was lied to, misunderstood, and completely lost. He was a tragic guy, but you guys pushed him straight off the deep end. That boy is long gone. The man in front of you now has no hatred left, but absolutely no love, either. I only kept a shred of duty alive because you happened to be my ex-wife. Or, honestly, I was just cleaning up the mess that idiot Caspian left. My job is done. We are officially even. So, ex-wife, stop talking about love. That stuff is way too abstract. Do not waste time worrying about who owes who anymore. It is just pointless. Just move on. The wealth you got from being the Vance family daughter-in-law is plenty for you to live a great life. Do not make love your whole life. Sometimes, it is not even worth a hot meal. The live comments went wild, shouting that a new philosopher had just dropped. Love is not worth a bowl of rice. That line hit deep. He is genuinely done chasing her. Now, pay attention to this part. Serafina stood completely frozen as her complicated gaze slowly went empty. She stared at me like I was a total stranger. After a long silence, she quietly asked what I actually wanted. I just smiled warmly and said I wanted to live in peace without any drama. Just eat 3 meals a day, be totally free, and stay as far away from toxic people like you as humanly possible. I just want a peaceful, quiet life. The chat blew up again, cheering that President Vance had shut down romance for good. Serafina took a massive loss. Her regrets literally burned to ash. She did not say a word, just staring at me for what felt like forever. I saw shock, confusion, a hint of lingering pain, and finally, a quiet sense of acceptance in her eyes. She simply nodded, turned around, and walked right out of the room. Just like that, Serafina had completely given up. Peace at last. The comments breathed a massive sigh of relief, proud that President Vance did not go soft this time. This ending is incredibly unique. He basically chose the ultimate path of emotional detachment, and we are absolutely here for it. Let's pause here, because over the next 2 years, my life got insanely good, thanks to the massive payout I walked away with. Even though my dad was furious enough to want to disown me completely, in the end, he just could not bring himself to cut me off. That cash gave me all the leverage I needed to never look back. Instead, I started investing. My strategy and luck were top tier, and after a few wins, my wealth multiplied. I have everything now. My time is totally mine, and my mind is completely peaceful. No more stressing over romance or toxic emotional baggage. Life is simpler, and my goals are crystal clear. Make good money, enjoy my days, and do whatever I want. I travel, snowboard, or just relax on my balcony soaking up the sun. No one is bossing me around anymore. It is pure heaven. Of course, I still had to make appearances at a few high-end business events and charity galas, and at those events, I kept crossing paths with Serafina. She was running Vance Corporation now, handpicked and trained by my father. She was ruthless and sharp now, a far cry from the fragile, hollow woman she used to be. She truly radiated pure power. The first time we locked eyes across a crowded room, she just gave me a quiet nod. I nodded back, and without a single word, we quietly passed each other. The next time was at a wine tasting. She approached me, raised her glass, and said it had been a long time. She politely mentioned she heard I was doing well, and I casually told her I was getting by. No starvation yet. We shared a light laugh and parted. Over time, we started running into each other more and more. We would occasionally chat about the stock market or business trends. We never brought up feelings or crossed any lines, acting like normal old acquaintances. Even the system chat in my head chimed in. Some viewers commented on how good-looking I got, while others praised Serafina for her incredible boss energy. They thought we looked perfect together, but most agreed that this peaceful distance was the best outcome for everyone. Nobody mentioned the past, nobody brought up love, and absolutely nobody suggested we should get back together. You and I just watched them both close that chapter forever. At a late-night gala, under the dim lights and soft music, the world kept moving right along. Leaning casually against the bar counter, I blankly watched Serafina walk over empty-handed, just standing there in front of me. We watch as they step onto the balcony, leaving the noise behind to face the cool breeze. She leans against the railing, tilting her head to look at him. Her look was deep, full of nostalgia. She chuckled softly, calling my name, and I turned to face her. Hesitating, she searched for the words. She paused a beat, then said, "You are incredibly charismatic right now." Her calm eyes had no hidden motives, no sneaky tests at all. She was just stating facts. Surprised, I raised an eyebrow, smiling. "Is that so?" "Sure, it is not just my money." Now, pay attention here, because she seriously admits it is his brand new aura of not giving a single damn. She stared out at the distant city lights free, completely sober, unbound by anything. Knowing exactly what you want and what you do not, she turned back. "That vibe is so attractive. And you never had it before." I smirked. "Before, my entire world revolved around caring about you. You stripped me right down to the bone." She did not argue, staying silent, silently accepting the painful truth. Finishing the last sip of my drink, I said softly, "It is better this way." She nodded, agreeing that it really was better. After that, silence fell. I did not ask how she was, and she did not ask about my life or my massive company. Let us pause here. Just two people finding peace at last, standing in quiet agreement. The night wind turned chilly, so we headed back inside, walking through the bright, dazzling lights and the loud, endless chatter. Like two streams that briefly cross paths, only to separate again, flowing toward their own different horizons. Inside my mind, the final comments began to fade away. One read, "Chief Executive Officer Vance lived a tragedy, but turned it into a peaceful slice of life." Another sent flowers, cheering for Queen Serafina's proud independence, an ending that actually made perfect sense. From the ashes of a toxic romance, a beautiful life was built. Vance is truly amazing. And that is where you and I say goodbye to this story, celebrating ultimate freedom. With the sun shining bright, I drove my car along the coastal highway, no destination in mind, just moving forward. Windows rolled down, the cool, salty ocean breeze rushed in, softly brushing against my face. It felt amazing. An old song played on the radio, and I hummed along to the lyrics. My mood was exactly like the clear blue sky above, wide open, bright, and without a single cloud. Perfect and pure.